Well, hello and welcome everybody to the new health conversation, especially for the sensors. We always assure you that we are 100% within the community guidelines. We don't, we only quote from peer-reviewed human trial medical studies that are available in the public domain, so everybody gets a chance to see the evidence up front, up close and personal. There's nothing that we say that's our opinion, nothing that we say that's a claim. Everything we say is backed by medical, peer-reviewed human trial studies. This makes us different than anybody else on social media. We can't see anybody else out there showing actual medical proof for the claims they're making. On our website, we have nothing for sale. There's nothing to buy. We don't sell anything. We are researchers, we're scientists. So I just want to make sure that you understand that we stay within the community guidelines always. Well, I see a lot of people on here already. Mosley, Brenda, Ruby, Rossi, Vivian's. Hello, everybody. So let me show you the real story behind this. She actually lost 60 pounds in 3 months. That's the daughter of a friend of mine. Now, many of you may think it's not the same woman. It is the same woman. But 60 pounds in 3 months. This is not a diet. This is not about counting calories. This is not about diet and exercise. This, what we're going to explain to you today, will change the world. This will make every diet you're on, have tried, completely obsolete. It's like, once you see the medical evidence, how in the world would you ever want to think you could go on a diet by counting calories? Because number one, I would ask the audience, does anybody know the definition of a calorie? Why are you counting calories when you don't even know what it is? I shouldn't say everybody, because we've had 5 people in a year get the definition of a calorie correct. 23 years ago, I didn't know what a calorie was either, so don't feel bad. But think about the lunacy of that. You're counting calories and you don't even know what a calorie is. Because everybody's telling us that's the only way to lose weight is calories in, calories out. I just saw some person again on social media coming on and say, well, the keto diet, of course, if you consume less calories than you take in, you're going to lose weight. No, you fool. It has nothing to do with calories. Nothing. Zero. And the researchers who created this, who invented this, they took them 40 years. Now, wait. They're the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. Not somebody just coming on and giving you an opinion. Because that's what they're doing. If they don't have any medical proof, why are you following them? Why would you want not rather lose 60 pounds in 3 months? But let's go down. This is pretty average. So she lost 21 pounds, 38 inches in 30 days. Think about that. That's 5 pounds a week. This is our low average. In other words, this is pretty much typical. And most women lose a whole dress size in just 7 days. So all of you, are you curious now? Seema C, Christine, Pam, Oyster Lover, that guy. Look, I understand the biggest thing we're fighting is you're all skeptical. I get that. But I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years. I've written 4 best-selling books to some of the biggest medical doctors in the world. I did 20 shows on PBS. I was interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America and did over 1,500 live lectures around the world in universities and hospitals and towns. They even flew me to China. Do you know for 22 of my 22 years, you know what that meant in the medical world? Zero. Why? Because there were no peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. We have 10 of them now by these top researchers in the world. They're the ones that created what you're seeing on your screen right now. But how many of you would be excited if you could lose 5 pounds a week? I'd love for anybody to put in the chat if you even. So again, what I'd like all you to do, you're already tapping, I'm already getting likes, that's great. But I'd love for you to share, I'd love for you to comment. Ask me questions. Now I promise I'm going to go through exactly what they did. That's what everybody gets impatient. Oh, get on with it. We want to hear what it is. No. We're going to slow the train down. Do you want to change the rest of your life? You think you want me to give you a 10-second answer and not give you the complete answer? Or do you want to know why in the world you have a chance now to completely reset, to hit the reset button for the rest of your life? How many of you are on diets right now and you're thinking you're going to lose weight? Yes, you are. Did you know that all the studies that we're going to show to you in a minute, 2/3 of you, whatever diet you're on right now, you're going to gain more weight than you lost. This is the sad reality of where we are as a society. Who's telling you the truth? Who's coming on and telling you, look, here's the thing about us. We don't give you opinions. We don't make claims. We don't need to do that. Why don't we need to do that? Because we have the medical evidence to back up everything that I'm sharing with you here right now. This is not a podcast. This is a podcast. It's live. It is not a infomercial. That's the word I was looking for. So if you're really concerned, if you're really serious about losing weight, but not just losing weight, see, that's the problem. All these diets have a destination, but life's a journey. Do you realize this picture is 8 or 9 years old and she's kept the weight off now for 8 or 9 years? Heck, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. That's what should excite all of you. We're researchers. We're bringing you the research. It's not our research. Let me be clear. I didn't invent this, but we're bringing you the proof. As a matter of fact, what we do for you right here, right above our head there in blue, you can all see it, the new health conversation. It's a free medical website to go and see the medical proof. There's nothing to buy there. If you go there, we're not going to contact you and say, oh, what do you think? No, we don't do that. We want you to make a decision based on real medical proof, not hyperbole. There's an interview with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. He headed up the team that invented this. After 100 studies, over 40 years, thousands of people, they concluded that every diet they put people on, people lost weight initially, but 2/3 gained more weight than they lost. Now, why was that happening? So let's get into the reasons how this was invented and what you can do if you choose. Most of you are going to go back to keto, paleo, Mediterranean, listening to these influences that have not one shred of medical evidence. It just floors me to think how many people come on my podcast, because I do 3 or 4 a day at least, every day, 7 days a week. So it's people from all over the world. And yet the majority of you, you won't go look at the medical proof. It's like it's insanity. Why not? Don't you want to see real proof, not hyperbole? That's up to you, I guess. I'm not going to make any judgment calls. You do whatever you want to do. But if you're serious, if you really want to lose weight and be able to keep it off and lose it in the most healthy way possible, then you probably want to listen to the rest of this podcast. So let's talk about why diets don't work. Number one, your body has no idea what a calorie is. Let me repeat that. Your human body has no idea what a calorie is. When you're hungry, you're not hungry for calories. So the researchers proved that here's why we're alive. We have a minimum amount, not of calories that we need on a daily basis. Get that out of your mind. What you need on a daily basis is a minimum amount of nutrition, because it's nutrition that runs all your organs, your brain, your heart, your kidney, your liver, pancreas, etc. So what do you do when you go on a diet? You're reducing the amount of food you're consuming. Well, by definition, what else are you consuming? Reducing nutrition. When your brain figures out there isn't enough nutrition, that's when the problems begin, because what the brain does when there's not enough nutrition, it goes in survival mode, prevents you from accessing the fuel inside your fat cell, and turns to your muscles for fuel. This is proven. 25 to 40% of what you're losing on any of these diets is your lean muscle mass. As the body uses up your muscles, the brain then has to, it doesn't have a choice, slows down your metabolism. That's why you go on these diets and initially you lose weight, and then all of a sudden it really slows down. And then you hit a plateau, and no matter what you do, you can't lose any more weight. You come off the diet, you get everything back, and now you look for a new diet. You know that's what happens. So the researchers said the whole idea of dieting has to be changed. And what they said, we're going to go and find foods. This was their goal, that have high levels of nutrition and smaller quantities of food. So the theory was, could we give you less food, but increase the amount of nutrition? Here's how they did it. 30% of what she consumed, okay, or 30% of what, let's go back to Christian, 5 pounds a week. They gave her a grocery list that she took to the grocery store: proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But a way smaller amount than she'd, say, consumed the month before. Only 30% of what she actually bought on this protocol was from the food that she would have bought last month. So instead of 100% of that food, she only used 30%. But they picked the foods, the researchers, with high levels of nutrition. And the other key, here was the real key. The researchers who don't sell anything, they don't have a company, there are no products involved here. This is food. The other 70% of which she consumed on a daily basis came from other researchers who've gone around the world for 20 years to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. Does everybody get it? So their theory was, we're going to give you less food, but we're going to give you more nutrition, which is the only thing the body cares about. So then, based on those food groups, they created 2 new ways of you consuming food. 5 days a week, she would have 4 meals a day, starting with these exotic foods. That's breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list, that's meal number 2. Meal number 3, dinner with your family from the grocery store. Meal number 4, these exotic foods around the world. So 5 days a week, she's having 4 meals a day. It's called protein pacing, and I'll explain why that's important in just a moment. 2 days a week, she did something called, wait till you hear this, intermittent nutritional fasting. not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world. But this time they had her eating 8 times a day. She was eating about every hour and a half. So the pacing, what the researchers proved, it wasn't just that you got all the nutrients you wanted, but how were they spaced out? That made all the difference in the world, because it was the most efficient way for you to use. That way the body could have less by quantity and still take advantage of the quantity of the nutrition. Well, there's the results. Look at her stomach on day 1, everybody, and look at her stomach on day 30. I'd love for anybody to comment, like this, tap on the screen. We're only at 186 likes. Come on, let's get some more likes. This is groundbreaking. This is life-changing research. I didn't do it. I have nothing to do with it. Don't hear me telling you that I'm trying to brag about my research. No, no, no. We're proud of our research, of the researchers. We're bringing you this research. There's 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. We have the free website. It's free to go there. The New Health Conversation. Go there. If you like what you see, you can get a free coach. It says right above it, free coaching. That's not a gimmick. The coaching is 100% free. The only thing we ask, if you schedule a coach, they're going to reach out to you by phone or text or email. Please get back to them. We're so, because those coaches are pretty responsible. So they'll maybe try it 2 or 3 times. If you don't want to do it, don't sign up for coaching. But they're not there to sell you. They're not there to convince you. They're there to help you and guide you and show you exactly. Well, first, you get the grocery list of what to buy at the grocery store, and they'll show you how to buy these exotic foods from around the world directly from the suppliers, not from our coaches. Our coaches don't have anything to sell. They're there to coach you and teach you. We got coached. We got taught. I know it sounds too good to be true, but look right there in blue above our head, the New Health Conversation. You all can go there for free to see what? The medical proof. There's nothing to buy on that site, nothing. And if you like what you see, then scroll down and you get a coach. Do you know what else it says on that site? 100% money back guarantee. What? Well, not the food from your grocery store. So 30% of what you spend, that's your grocery store. But the other 70% you're buying directly from these suppliers, they'll give you 100% of your money back in the first month if it doesn't work. Well, nothing's 100%, of course. But imagine that. Where's your risk? Your risk is you're going to let your skepticism prevent you from changing the rest of your life. I mean, when we look at this, this is the daughter of a friend of mine who was featured. 60 pounds in 3 months. 60. Look at that, 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face. Look at her arms. Look at her abdomen area. Now, you can think it's a different woman. It's not. People accuse me of that all the time. There's no benefit for us to lie to you, to make things up, because we have the medical evidence that nobody else has. Please, anybody, put in the chat, anybody you see on social media giving you a peer-reviewed human trial study. They may say, oh, we got a clinical study, or it's a scientifically proven ingredient. Yeah, but not in your products. You don't have enough of it to make any difference. And a scientific study is not the same as a peer-reviewed human trial study. No drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, something else as far as credibility, this is the June 9th issue of Women's World magazine, the #1 women's magazine in the world. I coached these 2 women. The nurse on the daughter, she's 57 years old, lost 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom, who's 80 years old, lost 90 pounds in 9 months. They both kept it off for 2.5 years. I mean, look, and you know what they're doing now? They're helping other people. They're some of our coaches now. If you got lucky enough, if you signed up and got one of them as a coach, you'd be pretty darn surprised. And it's 2.5 years. They've kept the weight off. Look at what the magazine's saying. Over 50 protein miracle. That's not an advertisement. You can't buy the cover of Women's World magazine. It's not no such thing. So the magazine has no financial incentive to promote this. But not only that, they wrote, look at this. A full 2 pages, new protein miracle diet. That's the magazine saying that. I mean, what more do you got 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies, but the studies are why the magazine did the story in the first place, because they had the medical proof. All the other diets that are out there, show me one shred of medical evidence. Don't give me this nonsense about calories in, calories out in this peer-reviewed study. The studies on diets are pitiful. I'm going to show them to you in a moment. But wait till you see this. An older gentleman, everybody. 40 pounds and 52 inches in 30 days. But look at his blood work. That's what matters. Look at his A1C. Went from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides, 242. They dropped to 124 in 30 days. No exercise allowed, by the way. Look at his stomach. Now, you can think it's photoshopped. Why? We don't need to lie to you because we have the proof. Nobody else does. What's holding you back? Your skepticism. I get it. Who's this crazy person? Me. I am. Okay, it's okay. I'm very passionate. I'm not crazy. I'm passionate. I've had the great privilege over 23 years to work with some of the greatest minds in medicine and in biochemistry and, I mean, just crazy stuff. None of it's my research. That's why they call us the researcher of the researchers. But we're bringing it to you for free so you can see it. So Laura, Nicholas, Nissy, No Drama, Betty, and if I don't call your name, it's only because I'm so concentrated on what I'm doing because I got so much data. I know you all have busy schedules and you don't have a very long attention span, let's be honest. So if I'm not calling your name, it's not because I don't see that you're there. It's just that I only have so much time and then it's scrolling up because so many people. We're stuck at 186 likes. Can we get some more taps? Tap, like, and comment. Doesn't anybody want to comment? How in the what? Look at that. What do you think about that? 40 pounds in a month and 52 and a half inches. An older guy with no exercise allowed. No one in these pictures was allowed to exercise, by the way. Why? Because the researchers didn't want exercise to be an outlier. But let's come back just to Kristen. How many of you would you're all on diets, and what's your goal? A pound a week, maybe? Maybe? How about this is the low average for this protocol. 5 pounds a week. She did better. 21.2 pounds, 38.8. But notice the inches. Now, why is that occurring? Because something else that I want to make you aware of is a new medical syndrome. It's called TDOS. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. That means they recognize it as a medical syndrome. T is for toxins, toxicity. D is for nutritional deficiency. O for being overweight. S is for stress. I have it, you have it, every person in the world. What does it mean? It means that our body now is basically taking these chemicals that we're all exposed to in the water, air, the food, and stuffing them inside our fat cells, called the visceral fat. That's the fat around the organs, also around primarily around the abdomen, stomach area. Look at her, day 1, look at her stomach, everybody, and then look at day 30. Because these researchers, what they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, proving that this protocol, first and foremost, the main reason to do it is detoxification. Now, I had someone challenge me the other day and say, well, there are lots of detoxes out there. It's on PubMed. Well, I went to PubMed as of June 15th, so 2 days ago. There wasn't one study supporting any of these commercial products as far as detox. So what they're telling you is just, it's made up. They don't have any proof. These researchers proved it through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis that this was assisting the body in removing herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and flame retardants from the body. That's why she shrank. Because see, the fat cell, by the way, don't let anybody tell you you burn fat. That's the biggest lie on the planet. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and those fat cells over your lifetime either expand or they contract. And when the chemical enters the fat cell, think of it like a balloon, it expands. But if you can remove the chemical, it shrinks. Am I making sense? I'd love for some comments. Sue, Guy, Kelly, lots of people coming on. We're still at 186 likes. Can we get some more taps on the screen? Do you not like this content? Is it not relevant? Because it is. My God, 80% of you are overweight, 50% obese, and 50% pre-diabetic. And Johns Hopkins Medical School is predicting by 2030, 86% of Americans will be overweight or obese in 4.5 years. Maybe you want to pay attention. Or you want to go back to paleo, keto, Mediterranean, these influences that give you a bunch of dog water. They're chattering. They don't have any proof. None. Zero. Why are you following them? Why? You're settling for maybe a pound a week when you can easily lose 5 pounds a week with no exercise? What am I missing? What am I missing, everybody? And you can go to a free website right here above her head in blue, the new health conversation, and go see the medical proof, for crying out loud. The medical proof. I don't want you to believe me. It's not my research. But if you believe in science instead of, chatter or advertising or whatever you see in all this nonsense, and yet we're getting bigger and bigger and sicker at younger and younger ages. What are we doing? We're not using science until now. Hell, this protocol, it took the researchers 40 years to figure it out by what didn't work. They did 100 studies, they're the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. On the website, there's an interview with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. He'll explain to you why they will never put a patient on a traditional diet ever again. They literally said it'd be unethical. Peter, knowing what we know now, why in the heck would we put someone on a diet that would take them 8 weeks to lose 25 to 40% of their lean muscle mass, and 2/3 of them are going to weigh more in the long run? They're going to gain more weight than they lost. We have the proof here that you can lose as much weight in a week as in 8 weeks of any diet. In a month, instead of people losing any lean muscle or water weight, they didn't lose any water weight. Listen to this, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise. I mean, look what happened to her. But Kristen, look, and then let me show you Julie, everybody. Look at this. That's 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at her body change, everybody. Look at that. Thank you for all the taps, by the way. Keep them coming. Can we get some shares? Can we get some likes? Comments? I'm here live. Hello, Misty. Hello, Laura. Hello, Zach. Hello, Juanita. CA Vibes. Betty. Danny P. Aren't you curious? Aren't you curious? Doesn't this shock you? Have you ever, unless you think we're lying. It's the only thing I can figure out. But why would we need to lie when we have the 10 peer-reviewed huge trial studies? These people are beneficiaries of these studies. And they've kept the weight off now for 8 or 9 years. You know what the protocol is called? R2M. You know what it stands for? Race to maintenance. Because the real reason to do this, number one, is detoxification. The weight loss is down the line, but the key is teaching you how to keep the weight off for the rest of your life. You all know, I get people in here all the time tell me, yeah, I lost 50 pounds and I gained it all back. Oh, I've lost weight, but now I'm on a plateau. No matter what I do, I can't lose weight. When are we going to wake up and realize that all these traditional diets are dead, finished, bury them? Now, you might think that's my opinion, but let's look at some of the medical proof. Now, I know a lot of the new people coming on, how did they do it? How did they do it? So let me go over that again, and then I'll show you some of the medical proof. So how in the world did she lose 21 pounds, 38 inches in a month with no exercise? Well, first of all, what she did was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They did 100 studies over 40 years, thousands of people looking at every diet out there, and they really figured out why diets don't work, and it was pretty simple. All these diets were based on some form of reduction in calories or counting calories. The problem with that is the human body has no idea what a calorie is. I'm still waiting for any of you, to give me the definition of a calorie. In a year's time, I've had 5 people get the definition correct. Don't feel bad. I didn't know what a calorie was 23 years ago either. So they said we have to abandon counting calories because it has no interaction with the body. When you're hungry, you're not hungry for calories. Did you all know that? Your body doesn't know what a calorie is. So how does the body actually work? This may shock all of you. Your body works on a minimum of the most important thing, why we're alive, nutrition. When you go on a diet and you lower the amount of food you're consuming, what else are you lowering? By definition, nutrition. When your brain senses there's not enough nutrition to run the brain, well, all our organs, our heart, kidney, liver, pancreas, because they run on nutrition. They don't run on calories. Why are you counting calories? I'd really love to know. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. So the researchers said, wait a minute, we got to come up with a new protocol. Can we give people less food by quantity, but increase nutrition? Find foods with higher levels of nutrition. Well, that sounds easy, but it took them 40 years to figure this out. So they put together a food list that you would get, that she got, but only 30% of the food she bought last month. This month she'd only buy 30% of the food that she would have bought last month, but completely different foods developed by the researchers. Well, they didn't develop it, but they figured it out. So they gave her a list of proteins. Now, for example, when it was protein, if it was steak or hamburger, it was grass-fed, finished beef, very important. And when the carbohydrates, which are part of this, it was complex carbohydrates. So they got proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But instead of giving her calorie amounts, they gave her serving sizes. Very important you all understand that, right? So now 30% of what she was going to consume came from her grocery store, and she gets a list, okay? 70% of the food, here's what makes this so unique. Nothing you can buy in your supermarket. These other researchers had gone around the world to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, Nepal, and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition that just doesn't exist in this country. Don't think you're going to go down and going to say, oh, I do organic. No, 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 no. Our food in this country, even organic, is almost nutritionally bankrupt. Go look it up. There's over 200 studies on organic proving it's slightly better than regular food. It's less polluted, and that's why to eat it, but not because it's like 100% better nutrition. It's maybe 10% better. So these other foods that came from these areas around the world where they don't use herbicides and pesticides had huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. And some of them came in regions where people are living to be 100 years old. Makes sense. The less food you can consume, as long as you have enough nutrition, that's the gateway to a longer life. We know that, and all the longevity studies have always said that. So now the researchers had it, or they thought they did. 30% of the food from the grocery store, the list that they picked out, and 70% from these exotic foods around the world. Then they figured two different ways of consuming food. 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods for breakfast, lunch, meal number 2 at the grocery store list, dinner, meal number 3 with her family, grocery store list, and meal number 4, the exotic foods around the world. That's called protein pacing. 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, she did something, this will spin all of you, called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted. In those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world. But this time, they let her eat 8 times a day. Yeah, she was literally eating every hour and a half. Diabetics thrived on this. No one was hungry because the pacing part was the part the researchers figured out. So it wasn't just like, let's have 2 big meals and lots of nutrition. It was spreading out that nutrition that made all the difference to make the body work in the most efficient way, to be able to utilize the smaller quantities, volume of food, and the higher levels of nutrition. And there's your result. Now, let me explain to you maintenance. You know how simple maintenance is? These exotic foods for breakfast every day, 2 no more meals, and then maybe every couple months, do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast, not to lose weight anymore, but to help to detoxify your body, which is something you all understand. The researchers did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis proving that this is helping to remove chemicals from the body. No other diet has removed even a gram of a toxin from the body. Despite I've had people come on here and challenge me and say, well, this commercial detox, and there's lots on PubMed about. No, there isn't. That's a complete lie. There's not one shred of evidence on PubMed. These new studies now, they're proving that this was removing chemicals to the body. But it's the first time ever that we've had evidence. Do you know something else that happened that was amazing to these people? In the first month, people's hunger came down 41%. We saw for the first time ever, diabetics, the need for insulin came down 41% in 30 days. This is unheard of. But here's the big one. Inflammation, which is the underlying cause of every disease out there that we all suffer from, it came down 25% in a month. That's never been shown before. Part of your skepticism is you're looking at something, and I would say to this, just because it wasn't invented doesn't mean it wasn't possible. I mean, when you look at someone like Curtis, an older guy, losing 40 pounds and 52 inches in 30 days with no exercise, and that's the least important part of his story. If you look at his lab work, his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, his triglycerides from 242 to 124, that's in 30 days. 30 days. So let's see, spot on. I hate this lifestyle, 0 sugar, low good carbs. Bright and you're beautiful. I've never counted carbs. Good for you, Kelly. I spend $150 million in groceries. I can't afford exotic anything. Well, then, Kelly, there are parts of this where you could do it for $150 a month. You just have to do it in a more slower. Listen, Kelly, we have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old doing this. We have people with no thyroids. We have a man with a heart transplant. We have people with no gallbladders, all right? So obviously there are different programs that you can do depending on, because we don't know anything about you. Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain weight? Do you exercise? How old you are? Are you on any medication? Listen. Here's the thing, you can do whatever you want to do, but Kelly, right there at the website, you can see it in blue, the New Health Conversation. You can go and talk to a coach, it's completely free. They're not going to try and sell you, they don't have anything to sell you. But we'll see if they can come up with a protocol that is affordable for you, for your whatever you are doing. But if you really want to lose weight, I don't care what you do, you're not going to lose weight on any of these stupid diets. So gifted speech, it makes sense, right? Who else would like to ask me a question? Thank you all for the comments, by the way. And let's keep tapping on that screen. We got 1,000 likes already. We've been in that for 29 minutes. So who else would like to ask a question? Now, let me do one thing. Let me come back here. Now I want to show you the medical evidence why counting calories, if you're doing that, you're wasting your time. Not my opinion. Everything I'm going to share with you next is not my opinion. Everything I'm going to share with you next comes from medical studies, okay? Let's start kind of at the top and work our way down. Harvard Medical School, not my opinion, Harvard Medical School, direct quote, stop counting calories. Here's what they said. Most people have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories, specifically 3,500, and you lose about a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. They went on to say, the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not just antiquated, it's just wrong. They're saying it's wrong, says Fatima, Stanford obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. Isn't that what I said? Stop counting calories. Why are you counting calories? This is Harvard Medical School saying stop counting calories, but you're going to do it anyway. Now, let's go to the next big study titled, Why You Shouldn't Count Calories. I want to emphasize to everybody, these are not my opinions. You're counting calories. You're doomed to failure by counting calories. It will not work long term. Not because I said so. Here's what the researchers said. Truth is, our researchers found the truth is calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. They went on to say, counting calories increases chronic psychological stress and cortisol production, 2 factors that are known to cause weight gain. So you're on diets to gain weight. Newsflash. Now, let's go to another big study titled The Science Behind Diets, their title, The Science Behind Why Diets Don't Work. Our researchers looked at more than 30 long-term studies, calories in, calories out, and found that these diets actually cause weight gain. The more diets someone has tried, the more they weigh. So not only does dieting not work for long-term weight loss, but it's also associated with binge eating, eating disorders, and long-term weight gain. What in the world are we doing, everybody? This is 30 studies. And then this is the damning one. This is Medicare, a new big study. Medicare. They don't have a dog. They don't have any products. They're trying to bring healthcare costs down. Listen to what they said in their big analysis. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. Our researchers reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether any diet is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies show that 2/3 of dieters regain more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. That's what these researchers figured out. Diets, counting calories, paleo, keto, none of them work long term. You're going to end up weighing more, or 2/3 of you weigh more than when you started. Aren't you open to the idea of finding out how? What about this? What about that right there? 21 pounds, 38 inches in 30 days with no exercise. And that's 8 or 9 years ago. She kept the weight off. But most of you are going to go back to counting calories and doing paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, right? So who else would like to ask a question, make a comment? We're also stuck at 1,100 likes. Can we get some more taps on that screen? Let's tap, 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 tap to get some more taps on the screen, please, everybody. So are you curious, anybody? Are you curious, how is this possible? Or this is the daughter. Well, she's the lead feature of this today. 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face. Look at her arms. Look at her stomach. Is it the same woman? A lot of people think, oh, you fake. It's a different woman. It's not a different woman. It's the daughter of a friend of mine. What do you think? I guess you could think anything. We don't have to make anything up. It's all based on real science. Yeah, Miss Prestige, I'm glad you're interested. But Miss Prestige, did you hear me explain why it works, how it works? Did you get to hear that? If you didn't, I'm gonna repeat it again here in just a moment. But let me ask you this, Miss Prestige. How excited would you be about 5 pounds a week with no exercise? Let me clarify. You can exercise if you want, but in the studies, they didn't let anybody exercise. They actually wear Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. Because the researchers, otherwise you'd be saying, oh, well, they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. So any of these, fitness people are telling you the way to lose weight is diet and exercise. Not really. So How would people ask this specific you need all the time? Okay, hold on. You go to the website, look at the medical proof, and then you can get a coach. The coaching's free. And they'll go over all that because you're going to get a grocery list that you would use moving forward. And it doesn't mean you can never have pizza again or a glass of wine. No, absolutely not. But initially, you're following the research is what they put together was 30% of the food she consumed came from your grocery store, proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits, but not calorie counts, serving sizes. And these exotic foods around the world, they'll show you how to buy. You buy directly from them. You don't buy anything from our coaches. And those foods, like for example, in the maintenance phase, you just have one meal a day of these exotic foods. When you're doing this protocol 5 days a week, you have 4 meals a day. You start with these exotic these foods for breakfast. You do lunch from the grocery store, a dinner from the grocery store, and a fourth meal after dinner, these exotic foods. So 5 days a week, you'd be having 4 meals a day. That's called protein pacing. And then 2 days a week, you do something called intermittent nutritional fasting. On those, not fasting, not water fasting, not time-restricted eating, nothing to do with that. On those days, she actually ate 8 times a day these exotic foods around the world, but she was having them about every hour and a half. Nobody was hungry. We had people weigh 500 pounds. They weren't hungry. Diabetics had no insulin spikes. And people, in a month's time, people's hunger went down 41% because we're not hungry for calories. Hell, our body doesn't even know what a calorie is. No one still has given me a definition of what's a calorie. What is a calorie? Oh, good. Gifted speech. I'm learning something new. That sounds good, Ms. Prestige. Okay, Erin Tiger. Again, Erin, go to that website. Everybody write that down. It's in blue above her head. The new health conversation, no spaces. And if you go there, we won't contact you. Let me say that again. If you go to that website, we're not going to contact you. Why? A, we don't have enough time. And B, if the medical evidence is everything I'm saying, why would we need to convince you of anything? If anything, you kind of want to know, okay, well, how can I do this with my situation? We have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91. We have people with no thyroids. We have a man with a heart transplant. We have people with no gallbladders and people with kidney transplants. My gosh, the 2 women that I coached, the mom and daughter, the daughter's 57. She lost 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom's 80. She lost 90 pounds in 9 months. They both kept it off for 2.5 years. This is the #1 women's magazine in the world, June 9th issue. If you can still get it on the newsstand. Read the story. It's fascinating. Well, I mean, I'm prejudiced, of course, because I coached them. I know them. They're my friends now, but they've kept the weight off for 2.5 years. That's how they get the magazine. But also why they get the magazine, because the magazine relied on the medical proof for the first time ever. No other diet has 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies, period, end of the story. Why are you following these people they're giving you opinions? They don't have any facts. Oh, you can lose 20 pounds in a month and most of it's fat. Really? Who said that? That's on this. Some of you probably are doing this intermittent fasting where you don't eat for 16 hours, you eat for 8. One of the worst things you could do, and let me explain to you why. Here's a big study done in the Journal of the American Medical Association on that. It's called 16-8, where you fast for 16 hours, you eat for 8. Well, let's look at the medical proof from the Journal of the American Medical Association. In our research, the Journal of the American Medical Association found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours a day over 3 months gained almost no benefit from it. They lost an average of 2 to 3.5 pounds, and most of the weight they shed was not body fat, but lean muscle mass. Which would you believe? The medical proof or someone giving you an opinion? Seems like nice people they don't have one shred of medical evidence, and you're all following. Why? Why? Because that's all we know. So we rely on them. We go on social media and see they've got credentials. There are medical doctors and chiropractors and dietitians and nutritionists and fitness people and health coaches and weight loss coaches. If any of that worked, ask yourself, Johns Hopkins Medical School. I have it right here. This is not me making things up, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. Study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. We estimate 86% of Americans will be overweight or obese. Honestly, tell me I'm crazy. Maybe I am. But do any of you think that makes any sense? 86% of you are going to be overweight or obese in 4.5 years, and you keep doing these diets, which are miserable failures long term, as we keep getting bigger and bigger every year and sicker at younger and younger ages. Now 50% of our kids are overweight, and a third of those are type 2 diabetes. Do you know in children 35 years ago, type 2 diabetes didn't exist? There were like almost no cases. It was like such an anomaly, they just didn't see it. I mean, does anyone think what we're doing? I'm the canary in the coal mine. I get it. I make a lot of, probably making some of you mad. Who is this guy? It's just bullshit. No, it's not. The reason it's not is I got 10, I didn't do them, but I have 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. All the people that want to come on and criticize me, it's okay. But where's your medical proof? Don't give me, oh, it's all about calories in and calories out. No, it's not. Not when you have Medicare saying Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments, diets are not the answer. Our researchers looked at long-term studies of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether any diet is an efficient, effective treatment for obesity. The studies show that 2/3 of dieters regain more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. That's Medicare telling you your diets don't work. We're showing you 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies of something that's not a diet. It's not about counting calories. I mean, look at this, everybody. Would you be excited? Please put it in the chat. I'd love for you to comment. If you could lose 5 pounds a week, how excited would you be with no exercise? Of course, you can exercise if you want. That's why you need a coach. They'll go over all that with you for free. The coaching's free, for crying out loud. It's free. So I'd like to ask a question. Is sweet... So wait a minute. Question: is sweet corn flattening? Is sweet corn flattening? The problem with corn is it has so much sugar. That's one of the problems. So I'm not quite sure about sweet corn. Well, I love sweet corn. You're talking in summertime. Obviously, we have corn. I still eat it. Look, here's the point. What I'm telling you is when you go through this to get the weight off you, there's still a long list of foods: proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But they selected ones that were higher levels of nutrition. That's what it came down to. And once you get, listen, maintenance is so simple. It's one of these exotic meals, foods for breakfast every day, 2 normal meals, and then do a 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast about every maybe 2 or 3 months. That's it. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. That's what that picture's 8 or 9 years old. She's kept the weight up for 8 or 9 years. But show me, any of you, tell me a diet where you can lose 5 pounds a week, and this is the low end. Look at Julie, everybody. This is 35 pounds in 37 days. We had someone on, was it yesterday? She came on, she was on day 23. She's down 22 pounds in 23 days. We had another woman yesterday, after 4 days, on the 5th morning, she lost 12 pounds in 4 days. So the numbers I'm giving you in the studies, it's now, some of those people were exercising. That's probably why they lost even more than what they saw in the studies. But my gosh, look at this gentleman, an older guy, 40 pounds and 52 inches in a month. Now, I'm probably scaring all of you away. Oh, that's not possible. It's unhealthy to lose that much weight that fast. Well, first of all, on a diet, that would never happen, number 2. But the research has measured lean muscle. So instead of him losing any lean muscle, he gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise because of the nutrition. That's what you have to understand. Your body needs for us to be alive, nutrition. There's a minimum amount you need in order for all the organs to work: brain, kidney, liver, heart, etc. See, what the researchers figured was pretty simple. When you go on a diet, you're reducing the amount of food you're consuming. What else you're reducing? Nutrition. When the brain senses there's not enough nutrition, it goes in starvation mode, shuts down the ability to access fuel from your fat cell, and turns to your muscles for fuel. It's not up for debate. 25 to 40% of what you lose on any diet is lean muscle mass. It is. When that happens, your body's going to slow down your metabolism. It's not like maybe. No, and it slows down your own immune system. These diets you're on, by counting calories, you're making yourself unhealthy. Yeah, I get very animated. People get mad at me because I get so animated. Cool it. I'm not cooling anything. Somebody has to be your advocate, for crying out loud. I can speak to this. My own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I saw what dieting did. 24 years ago, she called me up one day and said, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything if I could spend 1 day thin. I said, wow, Mom, that's really cool. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. My mother dieted herself to death, in my opinion. She did every diet you could imagine. I'd see her lose 20 pounds, gain 25 back, lose 25, gain 30 back. She was on every kind of pill there was at the end: cholesterol, high blood pressure, water pills, beta blockers, you name it. How many of you are struggling with things like, I hope you never have to have a phone call like that. I loved my mom. It didn't matter. I didn't care how big she was. But I saw fat shaming up close and personal. I will not tolerate that at all. We're here as your we're here to support you. We love you to join. This is a mission. There's no company. The New Health Conversation, it's a movement. Do you know we have medical doctors and we have registered nurses, we have physician's assistants, we have dietitians, nutritionists. They've all joined us to coach. The coaching's free, for crying out loud. We all were coached. But they're that sincere about helping people. Because what happens a lot of times, you go on this and all of a sudden you have this incredible result. And everybody's, your sisters and your spouses and whatever, they're at, what are you doing? I mean, our biggest challenge is we don't have so many coaches. The only thing that we would ask, if you do go to the website, we won't contact you. I swear on my kids' lives, my grandkids' lives. But if you like what you see, you can scroll it. Get a free coach, for crying out loud. They'll coach you the whole time. Because the key is not just to show you what you're going to consume, but how you consume it. You actually would get, this was developed by the medical researchers. It's called the Blueprint for Success. Each one of these yellows here is a daily video where they explain to you exactly why it's safe, what you do. Now, they don't sell anything. They don't have any products. Why would they do this? Because they've spent 40 years and they've now got the credit that they've cracked the code on obesity, and they just want people to be aware of what they did. It's pretty cool, isn't it? But I know what most of you are going to do. You're going to go back to paleo, to keto, to carb recycling, to carnivore, whatever it is. By the way, carnivore, we like carnivore, but we do a completely different version of it because it's too limiting just protein. I know that may make some of you mad, but I don't care. we have the science behind us. Oh, tremendous with PCOS. Yeah, Barbara, wow, I agree. Lashota, how do I get this? Lashota. Oh, wow, that's so nice of you. Ned, too. Okay, so all of you, do you see right above her name? Please give me a yes, anybody. The New Health Conversation in blue. The reason I say that, a lot of times people say they can't read it. That's the free website. Let me repeat it 3 times in a row. The New Health Conversation. The New Health Conversation. The New Health Conversation. Does everybody see it? That's our rallying chant. I'm kidding. No, it's not really. Well, I got to laugh some of the time because this is pretty serious stuff. You know, as a matter of, I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years, and I wrote 4 best-selling books, and I've done 20 shows on PBS, and I did over 1,500 live lectures around the world at universities and hospitals and towns. Heck, they even flew me to China. One of my biggest things close to my heart, I spoke 2 years in a row at Autism One in Chicago, one of the largest autism conferences in the world. So I've seen a lot of things. This is so much more than just about weight loss. And we're not curing, treating, diagnosing, or making any or preventing any diseases. Let's get that out of the way. No, no, no. All we're doing is sharing on that website the actual medical proof that the researchers proved. But they don't sell anything. There's no products here, anybody. There's no, like, don't put in the chat, what's the product? There's no product. It's food, but in completely new ways. Do you know that the protocol, it's called protein pacing, 5 days a week, 4 meals, that's patented? U.S. Patent Office gave them a patent on that. That's how unique it is. Now, it sounds pretty simple, but it's really the amount of food you eat at very specific times over about a 12-hour time period. It's just a new way of eating. But look at the results. Is that not crazy? So, again, I want anybody to balance it. You need in a day with foods the least amount of cal to eat as much as. Yeah, kind of, Aurora. That's kind of. But remember, they don't, nothing to do with calories. The researchers specifically gave you serving sizes. And these foods from around the world are completely disproportionate. If you looked at the amount of food on your plate, you'd think, oh my God, I'm going to be starving to death. But you're not, because you have all this nutrition in these areas in the world where there still is, the soil is still, they don't use herbicides and pesticides like in Russia and Mongolia, in Tibet, in the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand. Some of these regions, people living to be 100 years old. There's no herbicides or pesticides. And that's what these researchers did over 20 years. And you can't buy these foods in a grocery store. And they contain even It's not just that there's huge amounts of nutrition, there's specific nutrients that don't exist in North America. Never did. Like one of the ingredients comes from Mongolia. It massively lowers stress in your body. Would anybody like to lower stress in their body? One of the ingredients that comes from the Himalayas massively lowers what? Inflammation, which is the underlying cause of every disease out there. Every one of us suffers from it. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, making medical proclamations. We don't have to, or preventing any diseases, because we have the medical proof to say inflammation came down 25% in 30 days. No diet's ever produced anything like that. Your main goal in a diet, you want the number on the scale to move. But do you understand how unhealthy you're making yourself? That those diets are actually making you unhealthy? Because what happens when you don't have enough nutrition in your body, the brain goes into starvation mode and will stop accessing fuel in your fat cells and turn to your muscles for fuel. I hope you're all getting educated here. This is about education and making you aware. If you go to that website, we're not even going to contact you. And so it's not like you have to get a coach and then we'll show you. People are doing that. They're charging for apps to show you diet recipes. What? Without one shred of medical evidence. And most of you are going to do it. I know, I see them they have 1 million, 2 million followers. Well, we're coming. An army of us, we're coming. We keep getting bigger and bigger every day and every week, and this is now spreading around the world. These podcasts, which I do at least 4 a day. I don't think there's anybody else on social media doing 4 of these a day. Because the needs, worldwide, listen to this, everybody. There's 1 billion people, 1 billion out of 8 billion, clinically obese. This was the Lancet, a big study published in 2024. And they said, making obesity the leading form of malnutrition in the world. What? Yeah. Because they said that the people, the obese people, people in general, they're just not getting enough of vitamins, minerals, botanicals, and nutrients necessary to maximize your quality of life. So what are we doing? We're consuming all this food with very low amounts of nutrition. That's why you're never full. That's why we're getting so big as a society, because you keep thinking you're hungry for calories. You look at the label, oh, how many calories is in here? No, it's how much nutrition is in there. That's the only thing that matters to your body. Your body can't measure a calorie, doesn't know what a calorie is. Why are you counting calories? Because that's what we've all been told. Am I right? Please put it in the chat. I'd love some interaction here. Well, Barbara, what's really good for arthritis? Lowering inflammation, Barbara. What do you think arthritis is? The indication anyway, is the pain that you're feeling is inflammation. Now, I'm not saying we're going to cure arthritis. Don't hear me say that. That would be nonsense. But Barbara, if you have medical proof that inflammation for these people in the studies came down 25% in a month, do you think maybe you might feel better? I have to be very careful with what I say because I don't want to get in trouble either with the censors within social media or, more importantly, I don't need to. We don't need to make up anything because as long as we stay within the parameters of these medical studies and only state what's in there, then we're compliant. That's why, Barbara, that's why this is so amazing. Barbara, do you know no other diet out there? I mean, the studies that are done on diets, they're pitiful. When you look at keto or the real science, I mean, when they did really studies, and the people that started keto or paleo, they didn't commission the studies. What's different, these researchers created this from scratch and they don't have any products. They submitted their original research. It's their research that generated these studies. I mean, the studies generated these published results. No drug, Barbara, ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. No diet is doing what this is doing, Barbara. Well, that's awfully kind of you to say that. Barbara, I wish more people felt that way because I certainly get my critics and the people that want to really take me on. But Barbara, just give me a yes, Barbara. Do you see the website above her head in blue, the new health conversation? Just give me a yes if you see that. I want to make sure that you can read it for everybody, not just for you. That's a free medical website for everybody to go. Listen, we've been stuck on 1,200 likes for the last 15 minutes. Can we get some taps on that screen? If you like the content. If you don't like the content, don't tap. It's a free country. You don't have to be on this podcast. If you don't like me or my glasses or it doesn't matter. The science doesn't care about me. But it sure cares about you. Because the science has no emotions, unlike me. It has no prejudice. It has no agenda. It just is. The is part is right in front of you. She lost 60 pounds in 3 months. Here's her real story right here. 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face, arms. Look at her stomach area. Or Kristen, my gosh, this is the least people typically lose. How many of you would be out of your mind if you could lose 5 pounds a week with no exercise? Put it in the chat. Let me know. Oh, good, LaShonda. Oh, good, Barbara. It's not whether you can read. It's like people, for whatever reason, maybe on their phones, or they couldn't read the type. Let me put it up there for everybody again. And Barbara, I want you to understand, when you go there, give me a yes. We will not contact you. Only way we can contact you is if you scroll down and you get a free coach. It's free the whole time. So they would show you the grocery list. They give you the grocery list. You take to the grocery store and show you how to order directly from these others. So if you want to do it, you don't have to. We're not forcing you to get a coach and then we're going to show you the medical proof. No, we want to be upfront because we only have so much time. It's much more efficient for us to let you explore and prove to yourself this is something worthy of your time. And then you want to talk to a coach. The only thing we ask, Barbara, or anybody, if you do sign up for a coach, they're going to reach out to you. They're going to email you. They're going to text you, normally within a day, although we're getting busier and busier. I don't know if we're always going to be able to keep to that schedule. If they reach out to you, please get back to them because we only have so much time. And we've got, I can't believe a large number of people sign up for coaching and then the coaches can never get a hold of them. So don't do, if you're not serious about it, then it's okay. If you want to keep going on those diets that are failing, go do it. We're here to serve you. We got medical doctors. We have RNs. We have physician's assistants. We have dietitians, nutritionists, workout people. They're all coaching for free. The coaching's free the whole time for everybody. So let's see, who else? So Barbara, does that make sense? I hope it does. LaShonda, you said you already signed up. And LaShonda, if you don't mind commenting, when you went there, there was nothing to buy. Am I correct? There was nothing to buy. The only thing there is the medical proof. Also, you all should know when she went there, or you go there, it says 100% money back guarantee. Now, 30% of the food you're going to buy from your grocery store, I don't think they're going to give you a guarantee. But the other 70% of the money you would spend, those suppliers, they give you a 100% money back guarantee. In the first 30 days, no questions asked. Because nothing's 100%. But they're so convinced that these nutrients were used in these studies. That's how confident they are it's going to work. And if it doesn't, you have no risk. Do they do that with you in paleo, keto? I can't, my voice isn't working. It's too early in the morning here. It's still before 7 a.m. in Denver, Colorado, where this is coming to you live and going all over the world. So look, LaShonda said nothing to buy. I don't know her, everybody. It's not a plan. She was nice enough to come on my live today, and she took the initiative to go to the website, and she said, I signed up for a free consultation. It's free, everybody. Free. Not just the consultation, but they'll coach you the whole way through. So LaShonda, you'll get a coach. They'll email you, text you, say, hey, we're from the New Health Conversation. We'd love to set up a free consultation with you. So it's not a trick. I'm sure you know that, LaShonda. It's not a trick. They're not there to sell you or convince you. They want to answer your questions. And no harm, no foul. If you decide you don't want to do it, it's cool. But we don't know anything about you. We got kids as young as 2 doing this, and a lady 91, and people with no thyroids, and a man with a heart transplant, people with a kidney transplant, and people with no gallbladders. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, preventing any diseases. Don't hear me say that because it's not true. But my gosh, you get a free coach. Why wouldn't you at least explore it? It's not going to cost you anything, whether you do it or not. But at least you're making a decision based on information that you're gathering, not us convincing you. That's a big difference, everybody. These people on social media, they want you to just believe them. Oh, you can lose 20 pounds in a month and most of it's fat. That's a total lie. Because you don't lose fat. Number one, let's get that myth out of the way. There's no such thing as burning fat, whether you do it with a diet or with exercise. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and they either expand or contract over the course of your lifetime. I was shocked. I kept waiting to see if something is being sold. Yeah, see, she's shocked. Look at her comment. I was shocked. I kept waiting to see if something is being sold. There's nothing to buy. I'm going to show everybody the website she looked at. Here's the website, everybody. Look at this. Each one of those numbers, like number 1 is an interview with the number one nutrition weight loss physiologist in the world. Number 2 is a longer video explanation of what they did every day. Number 3, the actual medical studies. And number 4, before and after pictures, you'll see people that lost 100 pounds, no loose skin. Where's the buy button? Where's my books to buy? No, there's nothing to buy. See? Aren't you glad you didn't let your, LaShonda, aren't you glad you didn't let your skepticism prevent you from going and seeing the real medical proof, and then you take it from there? There's no way, there's no way for us to contact you. We set it up that way. We want you to feel comfortable. You get to do the investigation. But aren't you all really curious if you could lose 5 pounds a week safely with no exercise and 38 inches in that case? Or more? Curtis, my God, an older guy, 40 pounds, 52 inches in a month. That's 10 pounds a week with no exercise. Look at his stomach. You know what? That's the least important part of his story. Look at his lab work. See it in green? Lab work. Look at his A1C. Went from 8.4 to 6.4 in 30 days. But how about his triglycerides? From 242 to 124. How many of you are on medication right now? Now, we're not replacing. Don't hear this. This is in conjunction with, not substitute for. And I don't know for sure. As a matter of fact, I know in that particular case, he wasn't even on medication. So that's even a better test, I would say to you, all of you. Do you know that the diabetics on this, that their need for insulin went down 41% in 30 days? It's right in the studies, everybody. You can read it in the medical studies, the medical proof. Do you know in a month's time, instead of people, they lost as much weight in a month as people typically lose in a year on diets, and yet they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass and lost no water weight? I realize you probably think I'm making this up and it's science fiction and this is impossible. It's unhealthy to lose that much weight that fast on a diet. Yeah, on a diet. Wow, we're at 1,900 likes. Can we get some more taps? How about some shares? How about some more comments? How about some questions for me? Tap on that screen. Let's get well over 2,000. Come on, let's go. Is weightlifting without part of this plan? Is weightlifting. No one was allowed to do any exercise, Simone. There was no exercise at all. Now, if you want to exercise, I'll show you what happens when you do exercise, okay? I'm going to show you right now. This is an example of someone who did exercise, and this is only 11 days. Wait till you see this, Simone. Look at day 1. Look at the abdomen, stomach area. Pretty good. 4 days later, so when it says day 5, that's the morning of day 5. And then look at day 12, the morning of day 11. Look at that transformation. Now, that was with exercise. That's why this isn't a diet. Look, but Simone, do you see the change? Now, if you want to lift weights, of course you can do that. But that, again, is why you have a coach, because we probably want you on, when you're doing the 48-hour intermittent nutritional fasting days, we probably want you to take it a little bit easier. But yes, that's why you need a coach. LaShonda, yeah, look at that. Now you can also, that's Photoshopped. Really? You know what? I kind of know that person. How do I know that person? Because that's my youngest son. He's 42 years old. Look at that. Is that just crazy in 11 days? That's what I'm saying. There's nothing like this on the planet. I just wish that you could trust us, and I'm not saying you should. But if you could, you at least could go to the website and see the medical proof. And if that's not good enough for you, then there's nothing we can say, or we will say, or try to say to convince you. Why would we need to do that? This is the only medical proof. This is 40 years of research, 100 studies, thousands of people. These researchers who created this don't have there's no products. She didn't take any products, she took food. But does everybody see the website up there, the New Health Conversation? That's where LaShonda just went. So Simone, I hope I answered that question for you. And if you want to see a real extreme example, what do you see? Brian here. Now this is great, all right? A little bit older guy. And this is, look at this, 50 pounds in 4 months. And look at that transformation. Look at that. Is it even the same person? He looks like he's taller, I know. It's the same person, I promise you. 50 pounds in 4 months, and look at the change in his physique. Where's the loose skin? He did have a stomach. You can all see that. How come he doesn't have loose skin? So yes, of course you can exercise. but we want to make sure you do it in the right way. Because if you do too much exercise, like on an intermittent nutritional fasting day, you actually can slow down the results, but you still can get those results. Wow, LaShonda, nice. Thanks for the compliment. She said, guys, try it. You're right. Or you're not we don't have anything to sell. Do you understand? There's no product. She'll tell you if you go to the website, there's nothing to buy there. I guess my biggest question is, why wouldn't you go there? Why wouldn't you go? I mean, when we're talking about, look at Andy here, everybody. How about 45 pounds and 60 inches in 30 days? Now, he's a younger guy. Look at his A1C from 7.9 to 6.2. But look at his bad cholesterol. It dropped in half from 120 to 59 in 30 days. Are any of you doing that even on medication? Not that I'm aware of. Maybe. Nothing's 100%, of course. I can't know everything by a long shot. I'm the researcher of the researchers. We're bringing you the research for free for you to see it so you can make a decision about the rest of your life. This isn't about some journey like you want to lose weight for a wedding coming up in July or whatever. It doesn't work like that. This is a lifestyle, but it's so easy to maintain. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Doesn't that sound exciting? I almost did keto before I saw this. Yeah, don't. Okay, keto. Let me explain to you about keto for all of you, including you, LaShonda. Here's a big study on keto, basically a low carbohydrate diet. This was in Nutrients, one of the biggest medical journals out there. They said exposure to low carbohydrate diets, keto, is associated with big reductions in lean muscle mass and increased osteoporosis risk in obese individuals. You pretty happy now, LaShonda, you didn't do keto? This is medical proof. This is my opinion. We're not giving you opinions. Do you see how crazy all this stuff is? I mean, you're making yourself unhealthy by going on these diets. You're losing weight, the number on the scale moves, but then you're going to, 2/3 you're going to weigh more than when you started. Not my opinion. My God, here's why calorie counting can't work. Listen to the medical explanation, everyone. The biggest failing of the calories in, calories out formula is it ignores that the body adjusts its control system when calorie intake is reduced. So while calories in, calories out formula can support people achieving weight loss initially, the reduction in energy intake ensures the lost weight will be regained and more. You're on a diet to gain weight. What in the world are you doing? What you've been told. But you haven't been told this. Look. This is about the least we see people lose in a week. 5 pounds in a week? Honestly, put in the chat, anybody, tell me what you think about this. Look at that. I did keto before and stopped, and now I'm at my heaviest. LaShonda, I just hope we can really, really help you. Because nothing's 100. We would never make that kind of a... But here's what's cool. Those suppliers, they put their money where their mouth is. LaShonda, you understand that they'll give you 100% of your money back in the first 30 days if it doesn't work. But the key to this is maintenance, LaShonda. We don't want you to lose weight and gain it all back, and we'll teach you how to do that. That picture of her is 8 years old. And LaShonda, I have no idea how much weight you want to lose, but look at my friend's daughter. Our featured person today, 60 pounds in 3 months. She's kept it off for 8 years. Or the people that I coached, the mom and daughter. The daughter's 57 years old, lost 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom's 80 years old, lost 90 pounds in 9 months, and they both have kept it off, LaShonda, for 2.5 years. That's why it's called R2M, Race to Maintenance. Listen, this is the cover, everybody, of Women's World Magazine, June 9th of this year. The #1 women's magazine in the world. Look at the title, Over 50 Protein Miracle. And I'll bring it in closer. You can all see, powerful new eating pattern can take off weight faster than anything else you've tried. That's the magazine endorsing it based on what? The medical proof and the story of these two wonderful women who are now my friends. I don't know why you're all... Look, even if you're skeptical, okay, can you take a chance that this is not real? Let's look at it a different way. Can you take a chance that's not real? And you get to see all the medical proof for free at the New Health Conversation. And I showed everybody before, here's the website. There's nothing to buy on the website. Those modules 1, 2, 3, and 4, there's nothing to buy there. #1 is an interview with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. He and his team invented this after 40 years. And he talks about they'll never recommend a traditional diet to you ever again. It would be unethical. 2 is a more detailed explanation of what they did on a daily basis. 3, the peer-reviewed studies, and 4, more before and after pictures, some of which people lost 100 pounds with no loose skin. Oh, let me show you an example. Where do you see this? This is great. How about 200 pounds in about a year, or a little bit less than a year? Where's the loose skin, everybody? She had no surgery. No surgery. What do you think about that? Do you think it's photoshopped? You could. Did we AI it? We could. We didn't. We don't need to. But everyone, just stare. Do you think her life is so different? So different? She was a happy person before, but I'd say she's happier now. Because that kind of weight, it so limits your quality of life. Isn't that what you all want? A quality of life? Do you want to be, 70, 80 years old and you can't walk across a room? You have no energy. You've lost all your lean muscle mass. What's an elderly person most fearful of? Falling down, breaking their hip, because it can be fatal. Why does that happen? The loss of lean muscle mass. All of you suffer, everybody suffers, starting at age 25 from a disease called sarcopenia, which is the loss of 1% of your lean muscle every year. Just go to a nursing home and look at people in their 80s, and you see the skin hanging off their bones. And why are they so unstable on their feet? Because they don't have it, they've lost lean muscle mass. We have a lady right now, she's 90, I'm currently 293. Okay, LaShonda. So you can see that should really excite you, right? But if we talk about, the point is that you can lose, but LaShonda, how much would excite you if you started losing? You might lose more than 5 pounds a week. Oh, LaShonda, 60, see that? And that's only 5 pounds a week. That's what she lost. And that's without exercise. It sounds like you're pretty motivated, but the rest of you, oh, at least we're at 2,200 likes now. Can we have some more taps? How about some comments? How about some likes about this site? More likes. You just tap on your screen. Now, the only thing that we ask all of you to do, if you do go to the website, which we recommend you do because it's free to go there, if you like what you see, you sign up for a free coach. But don't sign up for a free coach if you're not going to let them interact with you. Because we're very, very busy. We don't want, it's like a false alarm then. Because they'll probably follow up with you maybe 2 or 3 times via text, a phone, mail, or email, because they want to try and get a hold of you. So it's not fair to them. They're volunteering their time. It's free. The coaching's free. They don't get paid to coach. So I hope you'll, abide by those suggestions. I mean, people are going to be people. I understand. Do whatever you want to do. But the point is, who else is showing you? Oh, or I asked you about serving size. Okay, so for example, that's for the normal foods you would consume, like proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. Let me give you some examples. So when it comes to protein, it would be like 4 to 6 ounces, let's say, instead of the calorie count. When it comes to, say, carbohydrates, it would be complex carbohydrates, and then like, say, 1/3 to 1/2 cup. When I'd say serving sizes, that's what I mean. The actual amount they want you to have, like, say, on fruits, maybe 1/3 of a cup. It's all laid out. There's nothing to guesswork. Now, it's not forever, by the way, because the only goal on this whole thing, what is the premise? Carrie Reed, I'm going to explain it to you in just a moment. How are the coaches being paid if everything is free? Because the people that supply them, they give them what are called referral bonuses. Doesn't cost you anything. The companies do it if someone does it, but then they coach for free because they have an incentive to do it. So we're being totally transparent. So anyway, let me finish with Aura, and then Carrie, I'll come to your premise. I asked you about serving size. Can you explain? Yeah, so the serving sizes are just that. It's how much of a protein, a fat, a carb, a vegetable, or a fruit you'd be consuming of the food you buy from the grocery store. The other food, the other nutrients that come from around the world, they also are specific to the amounts. So instead of calorie amounts, it's serving size. Does that make sense? So Carrie, let's talk about this. Carrie, believe it or not, this is about the average. It's about 5 pounds a week on this. It's not a diet, has nothing to do with counting calories. What they did, the researchers figured out the reason diets don't work had nothing to do with calorie counting. It had to do with the basic, simple metabolic function in our body. We run not on calories, on minimum amount of calories. We run on a minimum of nutrition. On diets, what you're doing is reducing the amount of food, you're reducing the amount of nutrition. It triggers the starvation mode in the brain. You stop accessing the fuel in your fat cell and it turns to your muscles for fuel. All the studies show that 25 to 40% of everything that you're losing on a diet from a pound standpoint of view is your lean muscle mass. So the researchers, here's what they did. They said, we're going to pick out foods we were just talking about, like you get a grocery store list, but only 30%, like whatever you spent on groceries last month, 30% you'll spend this month on proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits that the researchers picked out, and they gave serving sizes, not calorie amounts. Well, what about the other 70%? The other 70% come from these exotic foods from around the world that these researchers had gone to Russia, Mongolia, to Tibet, South America, New Zealand to get huge amounts of nutrition in very small quantities of food. So those were the ingredients. 30% from the grocery store, 70% from these exotic, high-dense nutrition foods from places around the world. In some areas, the nutrients are what people eat when they live to be 100 years old, so it's kind of cool. Then they invented 2 new ways of consuming the food, and here's what also separates it, Carrie. 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with the world's most perfect meal for breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods around the world. And it's called protein pacing. It's actually patented by the U.S. Patent Office. Now, the researchers who created this, they don't have any products. They don't have a company. You're buying food, okay? But different ways of consuming it now. So 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. Start with exotic food, regular lunch, grocery store list, dinner, grocery store list, and a 4th meal. Okay, then 2 days a week, you'd do something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, Carrie, only these exotic foods around the world. But this time, you consume them 8 times a day. You literally would be eating every hour and a half. Nobody was hungry. We had people weigh 500 pounds. No one was hungry. Diabetics, no one had insulin spikes. As a matter of fact, in a month's time using this, people's hunger went down 41% in 30 days, and blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides all came down dramatically. And for the first time in history ever, Carrie, they measured inflammation. No other diet that ever measured it. It came down 25% in a month, unheard of, unseen before. But the whole key to this is not that we can get the weight off you. It's maintenance. And maintenance is so simple. You have exotic meal for breakfast every day. That's what I have. 2 normal meals, and then maybe every couple, 2-3 months, do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast, which is a detox. And it's all backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies that if you go to the website, which I'm going to post again for everybody, including you, Carrie, right above her head in blue, the new health conversation. If you go there, we will not contact you. We don't do that. We don't need to do that. We'll give you the ability to go and look at the medical proof. If you like what you see, you can scroll down and get a free coach. The coaching is free the whole time, not just initially, not just as you lose your weight, but then teaching you how to do maintenance. They'll give you the grocery list that you take to your grocery store, and they'll show you how to buy directly from the suppliers, not from the coaches. The coaches don't have anything to sell. We don't have any products. And that's kind of the essence I went about as fast as I could. I'll implement it. Getting ready to start triepazide. Thank you. Carrie Reed, let me read to you about just so you understand about the effects of the GLP-1s, all right? That's an example of the exotic. Yeah, I'll tell you in a minute, Simone, but first let me answer Carrie's thing. So you can look this up, Carrie. You might want to do that. This is the New England Journal of Medicine, a 68-week study on semaglutide, which is one of the GLP-1s, right? Now I'm reading to you from the study. After 68 weeks, Carrie, 68 weeks, that's a year and 4 months, the weight loss was 32 pounds, and of the 32 pounds people lost, 40% was lean muscle mass. That's right from New England Journal of Medicine. There's no question you'll lose weight if you do that. But 40% of what you're losing is going to be your lean muscle mass. If you ever have to stop, the people who are stopping, because we're getting the remnants of that, they're gaining as much as a half a pound a day. So you'll definitely lose weight initially. Because, Carrie, what is the shot? It simply slows the food moving through your digestive tract. So you're full longer, you eat less, code word what? You're getting less nutrition. So do it, but you won't even come close. Listen, it took them 68 weeks to lose 32 pounds. She lost 21 pounds in a month. Or Julie, she lost 35 pounds in 37 days. It took them 68 weeks to lose 32 pounds. And she's gaining lean muscle. And look at the change in her body composition. There's no comparison. None, zero comparison. Now, and we're not against the shots, believe it or not. They're helping diabetics and they're helping morbidly obese. But our job is, as investigative nutrition reporters, if you want to call us that, is to show you the real, and you decide. If you want to do tryptophan, go for it. But you watch and see what happens. I mean, unless you think 32 pounds in 68 weeks is good compared to 35 pounds in 37 days with no exercise, and she lost no lean muscle. She gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. So that's all I can tell you. Okay, the example of exotic foods. What's the routine? Let me finish the question on the exotic foods first, and then I'll tell you what the routine. Okay, I love that, routine. Some of the exotic foods would be really the ingredients or the nutrients that are in them. I'll give you one quick example. One of the things we're the most deficient in our food in North America are what are called trace ionic minerals. You need 70 of them. And I'm not talking about iron, calcium, magnesium. They're things like gold and silver and zinc and beryllium and boron and selenium and molybdenum. In the best organic food that you can find, Simone, you're getting 20. The researchers found nutrients in these food sources that had all 70 minerals. They also found foods with 22 naturally occurring vitamins. Now, if you're taking a vitamin supplement now in a pill form, it's made in a laboratory, not the same. Also, they had foods that had high levels of what's called prebiotic fiber. There's probiotics, you've all heard of that, but prebiotic is better because it makes more good gut flora. Now, lest you think I'm making things up, we have a huge study done in the Nature Communications, the #1 medical journal in the world. 100% it was focused on the gut. The title, Gut Microbiome Remodeling Improves Drastically in Response to Protein Pacing and Intermittent Nutritional Fasting. So this wasn't even about the weight loss, this was about the overall health. So the prebiotic fiber is really responsible to help this kind of an outcome. What else is in there? I'll give you another example. There are nutrients that come from Mongolia that massively lower stress in your body. Absolutely, not up for debate. And another one that comes from the Himalayas lowered inflammation. They have the medical proof. Inflammation came down 25% in a month. It's not something that you can get from your grocery store in North America. It doesn't exist. Either there aren't this level of nutrients or the nutrients themselves just aren't in North American soil. And some of these nutrients or foods come from areas of the world where people live to be 100 years old or more. That's what I want to be taking. So that's just kind of an example, right? Oh, see, Simone, so you learned something. Yeah, look it up. Prebiotic fiber, what it does, Simone, it manufactures the good gut flora in your gut. Well, we have the proof. Simone, it's right here and you see this study on the website. You can actually go see the medical study. It's not, I'm not making a claim. Okay, so back to why here. What's the routine? Okay, the routine, which is not a diet, is this. The researchers created new food combinations. They picked it out. And they're the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world for 40 years, 100 studied, thousands of people, and they figured out, just to let you know why, that no diets worked long term. Most people gain, 2/3 of people gain more weight than they lost. So here's what they did. They came up with a grocery list, only 30% of what she bought from her grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. That the researchers picked out, instead of giving her calorie counts, they give her serving sizes. That's part of it. So 5 days a week, she was having 4 meals a day. She was having, I forgot the other part. So 30% of the food came from the grocery store. The other 70%, I forgot to tell you this, came from these other researchers who spent 20 years going around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. So now they put together the eating patterns, as you would call it. That's a good way to describe it. 5 days a week, you'd have 4 meals a day. You'd start with these exotic foods around the world. That would be your breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods around the world. So 5 days a week, you're eating 4 times a day. It's called protein pacing. It's so advanced that the patent office gave them a patent on this called protein pacing, okay? 2 days a week out of 7. Now remember, this is until you get to maintenance. This isn't forever. 2 days a week, you would do, and she did something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods, but this time they let her eat 8 times a day. You heard me. She was eating about every hour and a half. Now, why was that so important? The pacing is everything. because it's not just a matter of giving you all this nutrition, but by spreading it. That's what they proved. That's why it's called protein pacing, by spreading it out. Even on a day when she was doing intermittent nutritional fasting, look at the results, no exercise, look at her stomach, look at how much her stomach came down. There's nothing like this on the planet. Why? Nothing. Simone, that's a great question. Everybody, as far as cost goes, take your grocery, whatever you spent last month on groceries, 30%, only 30% you'd spend this month. The other 70%, most people feel, Simone, that the total cost of this is about what is maybe $100 more than what you spent last month. Because remember, you're only buying 30% of the food you bought last month, and this because you're buying directly from the suppliers. You're not buying from the coaches, you're not buying from us, you're buying directly from them. So there's no middleman. So the price, it's very affordable. People are shocked at how affordable it is. And again, it depends on what you want to do, because we have people that want to lose 100 pounds. We have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91. Those are different programs, different costs based on what they want to achieve. The 91-year-old lady just wanted to get off her walker, which she was able to do in about 5 or 6 weeks. This is not a diet, everybody. It's a way of life. It's really a way of life. So like I said, don't get scared away, Simone, by the cost. At least do yourself the favor to go to the website, all of you. It's right there above her head in blue, the New Health Conversation. And you go there, we won't contact you. But if you like what you see, scroll down and you can get a free coach. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? No, you don't have to, no, God, no. Where are you, LaShonda? Where are you located? And I'll tell you if they can ship there. Not me, I have nothing to do with that. Oh, okay, now in that case, they're not in the Caribbean, but I know we have people like in St. Martin and in St. Croix, and no, not St. Croix, but Martinique, and somehow they reship from Florida. So it's not available in the Caribbean directly. And I don't understand that. I don't have anything to do with that. But if you know how to reship, then it's, they normally ship to I guess it's called a reshipper. Because I know, like, my son lives in Costa Rica, and he ships to Miami, and they reship it to him in Costa Rica because there's no distribution. These suppliers are not in South America, or they're not in the Caribbean. They're all through the EU. They're in Australia. They're in New Zealand, United States, Canada, Mexico. I don't know what other countries, because I don't control that. I have no control over that. So again, talk to your coach and see. So why? Give me the OMAD just to let me know. I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, so LaShonda, if you know about reshipping, then it's good. And talk to your coaches about that, and maybe they know, because I know a lot of them are coaching people in the Caribbean. I just don't know. That's not I'm the scientist. I'm just giving you the science, right? Oh my God, one of the worst things you could ever do, 1 meal a day, one of the worst. Did you listen to what I said? Why? The key to this was the pacing. It wasn't just what you were eating and the amount you're eating, it was when you were eating it. They have the medical proof. The problem is when you do that, your body cannot assimilate. It can't use all that nutrition efficiently. It's the worst thing you could do. 1 meal a day would be the worst thing anybody could ever do. Worst. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Because if you lose weight initially, what you're losing is your lean muscle mass, and you're going to 2/3 you're going to gain more weight than you lost. See, this is the craziness that's out there. People fall for this kind of stuff. There's not one shred of medical evidence between 1 meal a day. Not one peer-reviewed human trial study. Why are we doing things like that? It sounds cool. Oh, I can eat 1 meal a day and eat as much as I want, maybe? No. Well, let me ask you, just give me your honest opinion. Why? How much would you love to be able to lose 5 pounds a week? Please put it in the chat for me. Let me know. And 1 meal a day would never get you there. Or I mean, what I think is so cool. Look at this one. That's almost 7 pounds a week. Look at the change in her body. 1 meal a day would never get you there. Never in a billion years. Not in any century. Not in any. No way. And why? That's why I invite you. Go to the website, the New Health Conversation. Look at the medical. There's an interview with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. I don't want you to believe me. Why? But you might believe him. They've analyzed 1 meal a day. They've done fasting, water fasting, the keto diet, the paleo diet, the Cornish diet, the lose weight for your blood type, Zone, Jenny Craig, Weight Watch, they did that. They looked at all of them. You know what happened over the course of 40 years? 2/3 of people on any of those diets ended up weighing more than what they did when they started. This is science. This isn't some sales gimmick. We're giving you the chance to see free medical proof. So who else would like to ask me a question before I end this live? Because we're almost at an hour and 30 minutes, and I'm happy to stay a little bit longer. And I'll probably come back on and do another one around 11:30 Eastern Standard Time today. 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, that's 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain, and 8:30 Pacific. And then normally in the afternoon, I do them about every 2 hours, so I'll probably do 4 of them today if my voice holds up. But I don't want to get off here in case anybody else has a comment or would like to ask me a question or whatever. Simone, I hope you're clear on where you go to see the medical proof there at the New Health Conversation. Any of you? One meal a day. Why? You can go there and see the medical proof if that's what you want to do. And you can do one meal a day. It's not going to work. I mean, you think that I'm like this mean person trying to discourage everybody. No, I'm a scientist. I just look at the science. See, the cool thing about the science, it doesn't have any emotions. It doesn't have an agenda. It doesn't have any prejudice. Those are the facts. The facts are the facts. And one meal a day doesn't work long term. No diet works long term until now. I mean, this is my friend's daughter, 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at this is a real story, but look at her face. Look at her arms. Look at her waist. Do any of you think that's even the same woman? Right? You're all shy now. No one's going to answer me. I'm really a very nice person. I really am. And I'll have discussions with anybody as long as they're civil. And I just don't like it when people go on and start calling me names. And what's the purpose in that? I'm just presenting them the evidence. That's all. And I give you an option, all of you, to go and see the evidence. Right here, all of you. Here's the free website, the New Health Conversation. So who would like to address that? Not address it. Who would like a question? All right, well, I guess that's it then for right now, and I'll come back on, like I said, around 11:30. So you can all see the website, the New Health Conversation. It's free to go there. We won't contact you. If you like what you see, you can scroll down and get a coach that'll explain everything to you, because we got kids as young as 2. We have a lady 91. We have people with no thyroids. We have a man with a heart transplant. We have people with kidney transplants, and we have people with no gallbladders, and we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any diseases. Let's get that out of the way, okay? All right, thank you very, very much. LaShonda, thanks everybody. How do you get a hold of them? I can't figure out on your page. Okay, Wendy, at the very bottom, it says right there, free coaching. Are you on the website now? I can't switch out of here or I'd go and look. So Wendy, all you do, you scroll down to the very bottom of the page, and it says free consultation is a place to fill in your name, your phone number, your email, and then you can write a note as to what you want to accomplish. I want to lose weight. I'm curious. Give me the answers, etc. Oh, wonderful. Okay, Wendy, fabulous, fabulous. Okay. So you did figure it out finally, am I correct? So Wendy, are there any questions I can answer for you? Because trust me, there's better answers on the website than even I can give you in person, because there's that interview. You'll notice #1 module with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. It's called 60 Minutes That'll Change Your Life. It really will, Wendy. And look, I'm not the authority that he is. I'm the researcher of the researchers. Does that make sense, Wendy? And obviously you've been on my lives and you know that I only state medical proof. But isn't it better to have the person who actually did the study to explain to you why this? They even said in the interview, they'll never recommend any form of traditional diet to their patients ever again. They said, why would we do it? It would be unethical, basically. It's very exciting, Wendy. I congratulate you for sticking in there and going. We try and make it as simple as possible. I don't know. Sometimes I think people misinterpret, because it's hard to believe that we actually will give you free coaching, but we do. All right? So thanks, Wendy. I'm glad you made that comment. All right? So now I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, at least for now, and I'll be back on live at 11:30 today, okay? Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, LaShonda. Thanks, Y. Thanks to everybody. Bye for now, anyway.